Hi, good evening all. Welcome, obviously, to BP Live with Ren and TSM. Evening, Ren. How are you, mate? Yeah, it's hi there in chat. How you doing there? Welcome and thanks for joining in. What has happened to the live screen? It's gone. There it is. We're back in again. Right. Good. Okay. As ever, we'll start open with the Battle Pirates obviously forum, and we'll have a little look at the interesting things that's happened this evening. Okay, for this show, which is why we've done one for this week. We'll leave it in general discussions quickly, and what we're going to have a look at this evening. Then we're going to have a look at obviously a quick scan of the important things in the Bounty 33 briefing. Bounty is about to start in a half an hour. So we'll be cutting this one in two within the 30 minutes, as we try to do always. And we'll talk a little bit about, obviously, a nerf to one of our sort of favourite newest ships, actually, for PvP, the Hellswarm as well. But we think there's a workaround. Then we'll have a little look at, the impact, obviously, the new armours that have come in as well, and talk a bit about those. So, without further ado, let's have a little look. We'll just try and change to that picture there. Right, Ren, do you want to, you've had to work on these armors, haven't you? Do you want to take over?
So 18,000 each, but 216,000 bounty to get two of all of them, 12 armors. Which means, even if you get, let's say, I have 3 Hellswarms, and let's say I want to put 3 explosive plates on them. Right now I can't. I'm at most going to be able to use 2 of those for now.
Okay, yeah, so go on, just recap, mate. So how many points is it to get them all?
216,000, because each armor is 18. There are 6 types, and you can get 2 of each. So 12 times 18.
Yep.
216,000 bounty points.
Wow. Okay, I mean, I understand the limited. I understand you can only get 2 at any one go. Thank the Lord, actually, to be honest. So I've sort of split them in my mind on the left-hand side of the page. They're the ones that I think that people may want to go with, knowing that obviously the HT turrets we've got in people's base at the moment that can damage the current Conqueror class hulls. I'm thinking if people were to focus maybe first on the ballistic, explosive and radioactive, and then if they can't get any further forward, then that's probably enough. And even if they can't get to those, maybe it's ballistic first because of Farsight turrets. And if it's the only one you can get, then because it is a lot of points, then that would actually help you get at least into the channel of someone's bases, because Farsights, which obviously can do 2 million damage, can absolutely annihilate some fleets before they even get close. So does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah. Get ballistic first, and then maybe get a couple explosive, which is as much as you can get to counter the mongoose turret. I would then, as a third, I kind of have a tie between radioactive, because some bases have the Hellmouth, or the corrosive, if you want to survive gatekeepers when they surface and fire for longer. Corrosive might be a good call.
Yeah, I possibly sort of, I probably didn't put number order and that sort of stuff, but yeah, so ballistic, explosive, radioactive, and then corrosive, concussive, and then interpenetrative. I think penetrative is the least important one at the moment, to be honest.
Right now, yeah, there's nothing. No smart bases have anything penetrative doing damage on them. The turrets are useless. The ships, the missiles on Gorgons are useless. So yeah.
So I suppose the question is why, and I don't mind, they've been out for long enough now. So I've basically had a little look at hulls here. So this is literally, this hull here on the left hand side is one of my Warhounds. I've got a few of them. Okay, and that is the build that I've been using quite a lot. There is a high evade version as well, but that's the generic one there. So I think the key thing there is radioactive. I've been going with ballistic as that well to get me above the 100k, obviously on my stats, obviously for my defense stats, deflection wise. As soon as you then change those 2 armors, and I've left obviously the center one there, which obviously gives you resistances, but you don't necessarily have to. Well, you do on this hull, but not necessarily on the one in a minute. I've only changed the 2 armors in, so all I've done is I've upped the ballistic, and I've upped obviously the radioactive. Because this one does suffer a bit with that. And I mean, look at the transformation. It's ridiculous. Three times. The
ballistic one, yeah. The amount of evade you get from the new ballistic plate is 7 times more than you get from the level 8 ballistic plate. So it's a 7 times power creep, if you want to call it like that. The ballistic is the worst case. Actually, the radioactive is the worst case, because the radioactive armor goes from 16k to 125K, that's 8 times more
as a ratio.
deflection.
Yeah. And bear in
Yeah.
mind these, as you said, same amount of armor points, same amount of weight, same amount of repair time, and same amount of build
Same
time.
refit time, by the way. I mean, if you have your naval lab fully upgraded, you can install one of these plates in 21 hours.
Wow. Yeah. And it's going to literally transform your ship. It really will.
Yep.
I would stick really with obviously the slow resistance and stun resistance armor in the center there. Simply because obviously you want to get in and you want to get in fast with these ships and that sort of stuff, and you will be affected by the auras that generally most people put on their warehouses and the OP sort. Sometimes on the lighter buildings, but you can knock those out quite easy. But generally, it takes a while to knock out the warehouses, doesn't it? So I mean, this is going to.
I'll give you an example, right? On that ship you have in there, on the left you have a radioactive deflection of 116,000, right? So a Hellmouth net does about 400k damage. When it fires, if it hits you dead center, it does about 400,000 net damage. So minus 116, it would be doing in that case 280 damage to you, right?
Yep.
Now you look at the right side, and now it's only doing about 175. Best case when it hits you dead on.
Yeah, which is a considerable difference. Yeah. And
I mean, I'm not even considering that this kind of like a Warhound typically would be charging, so it's going to outrun some of that damage. And if it takes you at the edge of the splash, it's probably going to do you nothing.
Yeah, it's going to transform that fleet. And like I said, the weight is the same. You can see at the top there. I've just left the little number 5 in, but just to indicate that there's no transfer of extra weight. You haven't got to rechange anything apart from those armors, and that's a really quick refit. A 2-day token, 2 days of build tokens, and that's one ship done. So it's not a huge change, to be honest. Moving on, then, this is a controversial one. Okay, so this is my version of the UAV attacking, obviously Hellswarm, and this is the one that's been causing people a lot of trouble. Okay, I've used this for several weeks now. It's not like god tier, but it's a pretty good fleet, to be honest. That with those two ships, I actually mix it with 2 trenchers, actually, to be honest. But it has been problematic for many bases, just simply because obviously the mortars are rubbish. They don't do anything apart from they're just placeholders to get you a bit more speed. And they just rain down black rain, but they don't do anything obviously in this modern game now that we've got, because they're from years ago, but they do help with forward speed. The point is, though, obviously I've got building damage and extra range and chaining and an extra chain count and all that sort of stuff. And obviously, as everybody knows, so long as you're in that range of obviously where you can connect from one to the next, these things are an absolute nightmare to stop. And moving it across, what has been killing them off, obviously, is the far sights, and either the far sights and the ballistic, or the ballistic far sights, or it's been actually the radioactive turrets, or the explosive turrets. Now, the one thing I found, Ren, with this one here is, whilst I have changed two of the armors again, and I've brought the radioactive deflection up considerably, and I've also brought the ballistic, which is even more now. I mean, far sights is going to do nothing to this hull. Not really. I mean, nearly 500,000. And you got 85 million armor on this ship. I mean, the amount of time it's going to hit, it's going to take forever to kill off one of these things now.
Oh yeah. Again, I'm going to use a normal hit from a far sight, not a crit hit. A normal hit, it does about 2 million damage, right? Then you have 50% turret defense, so now it's down to 1 million. And then you have 475,000 deflection, so let's round it up to 500. A far sight shot, when it hits, will do you 500k damage, versus 85 million. Even if you have a bunch of them fired, it's going to take a long time to kill your ship, and by then your base will be dead anyways.
Yeah, I think you time out. Personally, I mean, obviously there is a maths of that. You work at the number of fire rate and that sort of stuff versus how many times it hits. Especially if you've got, obviously, if it targets the most, obviously, the weakest ship, you've got the right sort of specials on your far sight turret. It depends what you've got. Some people don't use those ones, but generally these people put these into the location where they can snipe as many, obviously, important items as possible, and then basically they just let them sit still. Generally unstacked is the way to go with these things. But Yeah, it is interesting. So this is going to bring this fleet, although this particular hull, we can talk about it now, has had a bit of a nerf this week, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, the UAV has been significantly nerfed.
So what have we got? So we've got an increased time sat at each sort of station that each UAV goes forward at. It's 2 seconds now.
Yeah, it's hard to explain because the changes they made to statistics that are not displayed.
Yeah,
So
so it
you
was
look at the
one's.
chain count you have in your example here, look at the chain count. That hasn't changed. The
Yeah.
base chain count on the UAV is still 10, and with specials in your case, you have it up to 13.
Mm.
The swarm time cap has moved from 1 to 2 seconds. So that one you should see on your screenshots, I hope.
Yes, yeah,
Because
it's
they
below chain
changed
count. Yep.
Yeah, so it should be the chaining range hasn't changed, so it still goes out up to 100 points far to the next target. But so then you would think at first when you looked at the swarm time cap move from 1 to 2 seconds, you would think, oh, if it's going to circle the same building twice as long, it's going to do twice as much damage, right?
But
Wrong, because there is a hidden stat which is the reload of the UAV once it starts flying, how often it fires while it circles the target. And this one, they just said that, oh, before in 1 second, the UAV would fire 3 times at the target. Now in 2 seconds, it's only going to fire twice.
Yeah, so
and that's not something that changes with the rank of your ship, because it's not talking about the reload on the Hellswarm to launch a new UAV. That hasn't changed.
That's fixed, yeah.
It's just saying that, hey, before it circled for 1 second, fired 3 times. Now it circles for 2 seconds and only fires twice. So in practice, you could say in 2 seconds before, it would fire 6 times, and now it's only 2. So it's 3 times weaker in terms of damage over time.
Yeah. And it is technically 3 times big, but then the hull is actually twice as strong in one area and 3 times almost in another sort of stuff. So it is interesting, It's a trade-off that they obviously decided to make that nerf with the knowledge that the tier 9 armors are coming out. I'm interested to see. I'm going to be using this quite a bit in obviously Bounty 33 and see if it does make a difference. If not, I'll be fitting some up on the trenches instead and that sort of stuff because I've got a good blitzer fleet. But yeah, it's interesting times. So yeah, and that's the point. I think we just mentioned about UAVs. A lot of people have been putting like extra. They heard they were radioactive, so they're putting lots of extra radioactive damage on their hulls. It's not going to help you on a UAV because you've got to have building damage and not necessarily a specific type of damage. It doesn't work on that on UAVs. You can't
only
boost.
Building damage and UAV damage will help your UAVs, nothing else.
So I mean, we haven't had UAVs for quite a long time. It's been since when was the last attacking fleet we had? The Drat carrier, was it? Maybe
Skyfire.
Skyfire.
Or subjugators.
Subjugators. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I forgot about those. Yeah, I was away on a bit of a holiday when they came out. Yeah, right. Okay. One last thing then, just we'll talk about. Like I said, we're not going to go on all night long. We'll keep this one quite short. I think we'll just go into the notes then, and we're going to talk about quickly the TLC. So this is in the update notes. It will be, won't it?
Yeah, it's there.
There's just one TLC that's really, really important, and that's the only one that I really want to talk about. So that's Bounty. What's it called, Ren, the new one?
That won't go up. It's the Mutineer on Bounty.
Sorry, it's this one here, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. So,
yes.
Here we go. So this one's really, really important. Okay, if you're going to do any of the TLCs, okay, then because the other two are repeats, so don't worry about them too much unless you specifically need them. But this one here, obviously, this is the one that you're going to want because this is giving you the extra toys to go forward and get some of your Mutineer hulls ready for the next raid cycle. Okay, it's good because there's 5 mastery runs and there's Gatling guns there. It's 10 straight away, and with pillage you're going to get another 10 as well at least, and that'll get you up to that level that you want before we go into the first, and raid of that cycle. The skirmish cycle. I've managed to put the 2 hulls that I've virtually got ready, and I've put them in with 3 riots, and actually they're running at about the same speed, which is quite interesting. I don't know how they'll live. I mean, I've got them at U3. But I don't know how they'll survive. But their armor points is massive. Survival time isn't quite so good. But
yeah, I agree. I'm gonna try mine because I have the 4 Mutineers, but they all have only 4 weapons each.
All right. Okay.
and 3 specials each and no armor. That's how mine are right now. So I'll try the Mutineers, but I'm not very confident they'll do well. So I might just switch back to the Riots, which
Yeah.
are fully upgraded, fully built, and have a ton of survival. So
Yeah. Well, it's good fun,
I'll
obviously,
try both.
because bounties on, obviously we can fix our PvP fleets, and then we can do a round. Make sure you do a round straight away, of this, and get
Yep.
yourself up to the up to the, you know you want to try and get to mastery round, so at least you can do one mastery round a day, because it's up for the week and that sort of stuff. If you can get through prize pack 1,
Yeah.
2, and 3 and get to that mastery round, then if you can do 1, 2, and 3 today and then start first one of the masteries tomorrow, you'll get through the whole lot of the weeks out and you'll get all the goodies. Watch overstocking though. I don't know if you can. I don't think there's things in there that might concern you about overstocking, but you can overstock upgrade kits and that sort of stuff. Or certainly you can't overstock certain things like build tokens, that stuff. I think it's only 10 you can hold and that sort of thing. So just be careful where you are on some of your tokens if those sort of
Yeah,
things are important.
and for people who didn't get enough upgrade tokens in the last raid, which was not a high priority, right? Because here you get 20 in pack 1, 20 in pack 2, then you get 40 in pack 3. That's already 80.
There's a
And
lot.
then each time you do master, you get 40 more. So that's 200. So you can get 280 upgrade kits in here. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
It's enough to get all ships to, I think, to U2 and maybe 1 to U3, something like that. I know it takes 400 to take 4 ships to U3. You got 280 here. So
I'm just hoping you
probably
haven't.
get 1 or 2 to
Yeah.
U3.
I'm hoping people can get through, obviously, the mastery round without having to have X1 riots and that sort of stuff, because it just keeps people away from being able to really get in and enjoy the PVE side of things, because they're always behind and that sort of stuff. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah.
It would be really nice if they could just say, do you know what, it's a catch up one, and yeah, you'll struggle and it'll cost you your fleet, but actually you'll manage to do a complete mastery round. And if they built it correctly, I'm hoping that's the case with U3. Maybe it would be nice. Right, good. Okay, so we've covered that. Let's go back to the beginning. So, like I say, bounty starts literally in 10 minutes. Bounty 33, obviously, yeah. The holes, the six armors, 6 armor types, 2 of each. I don't think I've seen an update. Have you seen an update on the actual bounty brief? Is there anything particular in the prize pool that you noticed?
Just the super expensive 12 pieces of armor. And for people catching up, you can redeem Gatekeeper and the weapon. You can redeem Hellswarms and the weapon. That's pretty much it. If you scroll down all the way, you're going to see the prices, the prices, and
The
the
scary
units.
prices. The scary prices. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God. Yes. Now, one thing about the price, right? That in the past 2 occasions, when Kixeye first released the Gatekeeper was in Bounty, and then the first release, the Hellswarm in Bounty. And then, Bounty is not a cheap event to do. If you really want to keep going and hitting Kixeye employee bases and then hitting each other for Bounty, you got to keep coining repairs on your Conquerors. And then you get hit. And if you want to go out, maybe you have to coin repairs on your base. So it's expensive. My point is, every single time, the week after in Pillage, those prices were on offer again.
Much cheaper, yeah.
And Pillage is so easy to do. I mean, it's boring, but it's easy.
But it's a
right?
must. It's of all the things to do if you're doing raid, obviously, in PvE. But if you're not doing anything, pillage is the number 2 thing. FM is number 1, obviously. But of the things that happen, in the cycle of the month, pillage is actually more important than doing bounty. It seems like.
Yeah, I was gonna say, FM used to be the way of catching up. To me, now the way of truly catching up is pillage.
Yeah, and it's the most agreeable one. Now they put 143 targets in the FM as well, and taking out the 141s.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so, I mean, I'm hoping that I certainly won't get all these armor pieces right now in bounty because it's going to be boring.
Yeah.
To get 216,000 bounty points, either very boring or very expensive. I don't have that much seat time, and I don't want to spend that much money. So I'm just going to get a few more in pillage.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get the ballistic plate, and I'm going to try and probably get the radioactive plate just because I want to put those on there.
But I'm going to go for 2 ballistic, 2 explosive, certainly. Then I'll see if I can get corrosive and radioactive as a second tier. Really won't care about CT and M right now.
Yeah, because I mean,
Although, yeah, I think that there's going to be more because the Kixeye now has been swinging the pendulum towards the attacker a lot, which as an attacker, I love it. But it just becomes no fun when you can just, destroy most bases and barely take a scratch. And players start quitting. So I think they got to bring the pendulum back to the center where there's a balance. And people honestly got to spend some time redesigning their bases. I see people who have the tools, but their layouts are just awful.
Yeah, and talking of layouts,
Placement of weapons and everything is just. I see people with gatekeepers, with far sights, with all the tech, but no clue how to build a base. And there have been many videos. I know you published a few. Derpy published a few. Other players have published a few as well. I haven't done one in maybe 2 months about base defense, but there's content that if people want to spend 2-3 hours, because it really takes at least that much on base planner, they can come out of that with a decent base that at least hurts the attacker. Right now, nobody's going to be able to have a positive win rate after people install those new armor plates. It's going to be farmland. But at least you scratch the paint.
This is the third time now. I was hoping gatekeepers would be down to sort of like 15k, and now the Hellswarm would be down to 20 maybe. The Deadbolt would be down to 5, that sort of stuff. Just so that people that do struggle could actually get it quite straightforward. There's still people who've only got 1 in their base, gatekeepers and that sort of stuff. Just open it up. It's been a long time, I think. I mean people will be wanting to get the armors. You've got to make a decision what you want to get. Do you want to be an attacker? Do you want to be a defender? Do you want to do a bit of each? Do you want to play the game and have a bit of fun? This is not that much fun when you're going to get 40, another 40, and that sort of stuff if you haven't got anything, and then consider other things. I mean, forget Reaver Mounted skins. That doesn't mean anything, does it?
Let me put it this way, Mark. I think Bounty is not the place to get caught up because yes, they're expensive here. And Bounty is an expensive event to play, although it's fun. It's fun. It's more fun than Pillage or Raid for sure, but it's expensive. And that's why they have been consistently offering the Hellswarm, the Gatekeeper, and their weapons in the past couple Pillages and in the past couple Raids. And that's why I'm very certain they'll offer again next week on Pillage. And it's so much easier to get in there. Although it's a lot more boring, it's easier and cheaper.
Yeah, it's just a repetition piece, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm done, I think, unless you've got anything else you want to talk about.
No, I think we're good, man. We covered stuff. And any questions in chat?
No, we're pretty quiet. Everyone's just sitting there waiting for Pillage to start. Sorry, for Bounty to start, I think, to be honest, because it's everybody starts at the same time, which is nice, isn't it? So don't forget, upgrade your OPs, get the uranium and that sort of stuff, and get yourself up to get your maximum bonuses, etc., etc. Enjoy it. If you get your base smashed, obviously the gate. The good thing I like about the Bounty, obviously, is people go out and get their points. Obviously, the Kixeye bases are out for the first day. They go away and they come back again on Saturday, as they always do. People go, oh, they've gone away, they're not coming back. Yeah, they will. They'll come back on Saturday. But the point is, if you get smashed, use that 4 hours or go and tease somebody, make sure they smash you, and then use that time where you're in a bubble to go and get as many points as you possibly can, and then bank it, and then within 24 hours the store will open and you'll be able to go and get some stuff. So that's normally the better way to do it for lower levels. That's it. That's all I've got. Right. Thanks, everybody. Right. Super. Thanks, Ren. Thanks. Pleasure as ever.
You, Mark, and have a good bounty.
Yeah, you take care, mate. Speak to you soon.
You too.